say first?
No. You can jump in. It's recording, guys. All right. So yeah, just for the benefit of the recording, no swearing for the other clubs.
Yeah.
Right.
Expletive deleted all the way through, Mark.
I'll sit in the background, John. I'll talk about
you.
Play Reg when you want me to.
Right.
And I'm here for whatever you need. All right.
Okay. Right, folks. Can you see what's on the screen now? Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you. If you need to ask a question, can you put your hand up? Do everybody know how to use the Teams? On the bar, there's a hand. That's good, lad. Well, thank you for that. He's demonstrated that, which is great. Did you want something at the moment then, or just demonstrating, Dan?
Just demonstrating.
Thank you very much, mate. That's very good. If you could take it off now, and then we'll carry on. The other guys do the same thing if you want to say anything. Right, just a bit of background to the league. A bit of history. It was founded in 1956, and it's only had 6 chairmen in that time, so it's been good. And they've all been chairmen at the moment. We've had a very good lady secretary in the past, just prior to me, but all chairmen. At the height of the 70s and 80s, the league actually boasted 264 teams. Was once one of the largest adult leagues in Europe, grassroots leagues in Europe. So got quite a thing to go for. At the moment, we've got 60, or we should be looking at 60 to start this season, which is 10 up on last year. And he's again one of the largest leagues around. So we're quite pleased with the people who've selected to come to us. Just so you're aware, I think you've all done this, but I'll just cover it anyway. The league and all competing clubs must be affiliated to the NSFL. Fines for on-field offences and invoices for affiliation, county cup, etc., issued by the Notts Football Association will be managed via whole game system and must be paid directly to them. I'm assuming you guys are aware of whole game system. You've been in and done all your payments by it. If there's anybody that hasn't or doesn't understand whole game system, how to get into it, can you put your hand up now? Great. Looks as though we're all right. All of the fines or requests for payment issued by the league will be emailed to you. So don't get confused. If you're waiting for a fine from the FA, it won't come by via email. It'll come by whole game system. So check it on a regular basis. All of the fines that the league issues come to you by email. We can't use a whole game system. It's an FA based system, so we can't use that. And we ask you from a league perspective to preferably pay via backs, which again I think all of you are on at the moment have done to pay the league fee, so thank you for that. Any late payments to both organisations, not FA and ourselves, may incur additional fines. Don't want to keep repeating fines. A lot of our clubs go through the whole season without getting one at all because they just follow the procedures, or if they're not sure about something, they get on to me or one of my committee members and ask questions, which is what we want you to do. It's a mandatory requirement for all clubs to have personal accident insurance. So if you're affiliated for the Notts FA, they've sent you all the details. You should now have got in touch with Bluefin and arranged your personal accident insurance. Again, can I have a show of hands of those who have not yet got their insurance through Bluefin? Oh, this is good. I hope you can still hear me. This is excellent. And that's making sure that any player that's injured during a game or even before and after a game, you can make contact with Bluefin and claim, particularly if they're off work for any length of time and it affects their pay. So just be aware of that. League rules are based upon the FA's standard code of rules. We didn't make them up ourselves. Everybody, every league within this country, grassroots league, have the same standard code of rules. So don't think we're putting things on you. It's come from the top, from Wembley, this. The rules cannot be altered. Those rules that are in standard black format. We'll be sending the rules out to you anyway the next week or so. And if you go through it, the vast majority are in just normal type, black type, as you read them. those you can amend are in italics. So you'll get certain things where it might be okay for somebody, said, at a slightly higher grade than the grassroots football, playing in the National League, things like that, that they can adjust certain rules that we can't. So they'll be in italics when you see that. And in our rules, to the right-hand side, in blue type, we've got clarification, something that helps you understand what the rule means. Okay, I mean, rules are rules. They are actually straightforward. They are what they say. They're not like laws where you can interpret them. So what we try and do is clarify them, make them into easy to understand. And again, if you don't understand, you ask us. Also be issuing you with a league handbook. This includes the contact details of management members. All take on a certain role, things like registration. If you're registering players, referees, secretaries, we've got 2 of those. Got a chairman, a fixture secretary, all these sort of people that you will contact directly for certain issues you have on those elements of the game. Also includes contacts for referees and all competing teams. So your detail, what I don't put in is people's addresses. It'll just be your name, your email address, and your phone number. It'll also include the ground on which you play, and also include the colours that you wear. So when you do contact the opposition, you can see what they're on, so there's no clashes of colours, etc. But it's important that you just clear that up with you. What we do have a situation, so I'm not trying not to talk too much about fines, but failure to comply with league business. If we send you something that needs to have a response, and a fairly quick response, if you don't do something about it, it's highly likely you'll get fined for it. It's not paying attention to league business. You need to pay them on time. That fine can be it's around about £25 an incident, so it's important you get them paid as quickly as you can. And again, it's important that whenever we ask you to do it, try and do it within the time frame, because there will be a time on there to pay a fine if it's necessary. Make sure you do it in that time frame. As I said before, many of our clubs compete the whole system without paying a fine, which is great. It's good to see. We don't live off fines. We want to make sure that you guys do it correctly. All league fines should be sent to the liaison officer, a guy called Albert Graves. He'll be in the book, but he also covers another couple of jobs as well, which I'll cover later on. But he's what we call our liaison officer, and he deals with all the money matters. There should be no cash, please. Don't you going around to his door and poking it through his letterbox, or knocking on his door and putting it in his hand. There should be cheques or postal orders, and preferably bank transfers, because it looks like everybody's quite comfortable with bank transfers now. That's the way in which to do it. If you do send a cheque or a postal order, just make sure you put the club name on the back of it. And and what would be useful to you, and it's better for you if you can, is open up an account for the club. Otherwise, it's all coming out of your pocket. It's important you open up an account for the club, put the money in there from the club members, and you can pay fines from that. In terms of things like, so I think I've shot past something here. Oh, excuse me a minute, because I've got a bar in front of me I can't see. Right, all teams are entered into the appropriate League Cup competition, depending upon which division they are in. Entry into the Notts Football Association County Cup is not mandatory and is entered to at the time of affiliation. So some of you may well have entered something called the Notts Sunday Senior Cup. There's only one competition this year. What we have had in the past is 2 cups, one of which is like a league, like a European Cup. It's the top 8 teams from different leagues play off each other in a group situation and then knock out. And we normally play the county cup finals at one of the main grounds in the county, either Mansfield Town, Notts County. Long time since we played at Forest, but that's the sort of standard you can achieve if you do well in those cups. We will advise you which level of competition to enter if there had been 2 cups, but at the moment you're all in the same one. And the league has an excellent county cup record. In fact, in the last full season, we had 4 finalists in 3 of the 4 county cup finals. So we were really pleased and chuffed by that. In terms of the league cups, we've got 2. The top 2 divisions, Premier and Division 1, play for what's called the Majestic Trophy, and the bottom 3, which you guys will be involved with, is the Keith Roberts Knockout Cup. That's basically the bottom 2 divisions. In the County Cup competition and in our League Cup competition now, the pitch fees and the referees' fees are shared between both parties. Normally for league games, because you play each other home and away, it's down to the home team to pay for the pitch and the referee on the day of the game. But in the county cups, because you probably only play each other once in that, we felt it very fair, and the county felt it only fair that you spread the load and you share that competition. But we will be telling you beforehand, so don't panic too much over that. Right, that's one I wanted there. Right, we have each year, normally in June, although the last couple of seasons has been in July because of the problems we've had. But we also have an annual general meeting, and it is, and also, if necessary, the SGM is a special general meeting. We call those as it is special if we've got any issues that we need to discuss with clubs. And the last one we called was unfortunate, where we had a club that was misbehaving, had a very poor disciplinary record. We called all the members together and we put them to the vote whether they stayed in the league or they went. This last one, it was unanimous that they left the league. So those sort of things can happen. And then we've also got other meetings where we need to keep our eye on things. We pull that out to you. We've got one coming up towards the end of August, which is a pre-season meeting where we get everybody together, give them out the league handbooks. We give out although the league handbooks are on the match report forms, they're in book form. We send those, we give those out to people on day, and it's highly likely that now with a change in circumstances, we'll be arranging that as a face-to-face type meeting. So in a hall somewhere, as against doing what we're doing now and being online. But it's all to do with what may happen over the next few weeks. But hopefully we meet up with each other on that sort of basis. It's important on the AGM and the pre-season meeting that the club have at least one member attend. If you don't, you can get fined £30 for that. So it is important that you ensure somebody is in attendance for those meetings. Right, albeit most correspondence is by electronic method, i.e. the email. When replies are required to hard copy, which is very, very rare, an SAA, a stamped suggestion envelope, must be enclosed. So I can't remember the last time we did that, but there may be a situation where a piece of paper has to be sent back to you. You include a stamped addressed envelope, we'll fill it and send it off to you. With regards to suspensions and so on, it's important to pay all fines on time. With regard to not FA fines, a £10 administration fee is payable within 10 days to pay it. So if you don't pay it on time, in the 14 days, you'll get done for £10, and then an extra £20 added for any further 7 days to pay. So it goes up exponentially there. So be very careful. And then again, another £20 for if you delay another 7 days. So get your fees cleared as quickly as you can. Keep your eye on whole game system, because that's where they'll come in, and get them cleared as quickly as you can. At this point as well, the league will fine a further £15 if the game is not fulfilled due to a suspension. So you could get suspended for not paying your fines to the FA. If that affects your game not being played, then you'll get done for non-fulfillment of fixture. And then there's a further £25 on top of that, and a loss of points. So that can be crucial to you. Again, make sure you do everything on time. All payments should be made to the league by Wednesday of the Wednesday following their issue. So make sure they get in as quickly as you can. If you do pay by check and it's a bounce check, there will be a £30 surcharge because we get charged by the bank as well. So you will get that, unfortunately, at you. Fines to be paid by checks, postal orders and backs. Ensure the club name is written on the rear of the checks and postal orders, please. Mentioned that early on, but double check on it. I think I've only had half a dozen checks this year for people sending their league fees in. There's some guys haven't changed that yet. I know full well which one will be sending me them. And I trot down to the bank and put them through that way. So be careful on that. One big issue we need to put over to you, and that is contract players are not permitted to play in this league. Now, a contract player is one who is contracted to a club and paid a fee to play. They tend to be quite highly the Ilkeston towns of this close proximity to us. Those sort of teams, they probably have players that are on contract to them. So normally the clubs will tell them not to play on a Sunday anyway, but the players don't tell the club that they're playing on a Sunday. But if we find out that he's a contract player, then we will heavily fine. The team will get points deducted. There'll be quite a lot going on there. And we can find this out by going through the FA. The FA will then contact Wembley. Wembley have all details of contract players in their administration. So we can find out anyway if that's the case. So if in doubt, ask the player. If you know he plays for a decent side on a Saturday where they are likely to pay a contract fee. Some teams try and get around it by saying that they're paying for expenses. That's different, but a proper contract, they cannot play for you. Going on that sort of basis, any player found guilty by the NSFL and incurring a suspension in excess of 112 days or a total of 10 match bans for offences committed in matches under jurisdiction of this league within a 2 years period. So it could get 30 days, 30 days, 30 days, 30 days, 4 separate issues over a 2 year period, take him over the 112 days. They will be reported to the NSFL with a view of terminating the registration of that player in the league. So hopefully you understand that if they get a really serious offence, and we've got one at the moment, we're looking at the same sort of situation there with them. We did suspend a player or deregister a player a couple of seasons ago for a similar thing. It was a very serious offence. We don't want those sort of players playing in this league. So be very aware of that. Can I ask at this point if there are any questions? If you want to put your hand up now, just see if there are any questions. Okay, you're still with me, everybody? All gone quiet. I'm losing my voice and it's all gone quiet.
Yeah, I'm still there.
Thank you. Good. Thank you. Hope you're not gone to sleep yet. That's the main thing. Thank you. Right. This is a main issue we've got at the moment. Can I ask if any of you have registered players yet? Can you put your one hand up if you've registered players yet?
Yeah, we've got 4 players registered so far, but the league has gone down at the minute.
Oh, right. So which team's this? Sorry?
Nottingham Park.
Nottingham Park, fine. Okay. As long as they're in and they're registered. Do you see them on your whole game system as registered?
Yeah, I do at the minute, but because the FA has gone down, I've already contacted them.
Right. There's been this is the time of the year, you can well imagine, when there are hundreds of thousands of players going through the process. And the system finds it very, very difficult to handle them all. So you will get those sort of issues occur. Please be patient and keep going back in and pressing the buttons, do it that way. So be very careful on that. But obviously you find your way through the affiliation process. Is it something you've done before, or have you learnt new? Hello?
Sorry, what was that?
Right, sorry. Is it something that you've learnt new, or have you done it before, registering players?
Oh, yeah, it's something new, but it's sort of simple to do.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's now a time limit on getting your players, your first 16 players in. They've got to be in by 10, should be in by the 10th of August, which is next Tuesday. We're not going to be pushing hard on new teams because you've got to go through the process. There are some training programs coming up to do it. But if you've got an issue and you want to start putting players through, let me know, contact me, and I'll help you on the system and how to do it.
That's brilliant. Thank you.
Okay with everybody? Then you're the two guys in the same situation. Are you okay? Right. Thank you for that. Right. All registration now is done by whole game system. At one time, we used to have forms you filled in, put them in the post, sent them off. You can imagine the poor old registrar's living room full of paper by the time everybody got through, because you're talking about 1,600 to 2,000 players being registered on the system. So they're all going through that process. You can register on the day of a fixture for a league match, only a league match. With cup matches, you have to register now. Last year it was 7 days before, but now we're saying 24 hours before. So if you've got to kick off at 10th, what we're saying is 12 o'clock on the Saturday, 12 o'clock midday on Saturday. If you've got to play a player on the following day in a cup match, both the League Cup and the County Cup, they have to be registered by 12 o'clock on that day. If you register on the day of the game for a league game, you need to make sure you've got a registration form. Now, you can either download one of those off whole game system or go into full time, go along where it's all the pictures are until you get to a thing called the league briefcase, and that's got all the documents in there. And what you can do is you can download a player registration form. Now, this is the only time you'll fill a form in. You fill the form in before the game, half an hour, at least half an hour before the game. You get it witnessed by the opposition. You hold on to that. You put his name. You can put his name down on the match report, the team sheet. And at the end of the game, what you should also do is send an email to the registrar, Albert Graves, saying that you're signing this player on the day. Then you still have 2 days in which to register him through a whole game system. So you've got up till the Tuesday evening to make sure that that player is registered on a whole game system. If you don't do it in that time limit, you will get, say, hitting you with a fine again for that. So make sure you do your administration correctly. This registration deadline, I mentioned the 10th of August to get 16 players in. The first 24 players are free of charge, but every player after 24 incurs a £2 per player admin cost. You'll be charged that. We'll wait till after the 14th of March. See, the end date is the 14th of March. We'll wait until after then. We'll count up how many players you've got over 24, and we'll send you an invoice for that number. So if you've got 10 more, so if you've got 34 on, that 10 becomes 10 times 2, £20. We will send you an invoice for £20 for the additional players you've got. If you want to deregister a player wants to deregister, again, there is a £7.50 charge, which is the same as a transfer charge if the player wants to deregister. Otherwise, he can just go away and then go and play for another side instead of transferring. And there is a process for the transferring of that. So make sure you do it. In terms of the transfer process, you've really got a 7-day window in which you've got to put in a notice of approach to the opposition. So you'll send an email to the secretary of the player of the club you want. You send him an email with the player's name on and basic details. You also CC that to the registrar of this league, again to Albert. So email goes directly to the opposition secretary and a copy to Albert 7 days before. If you don't hear anything, the opposition, if you've got no problem about the player coming to you, and sometimes it's not a bad idea to give the secretary a ring beforehand and say, look, this player said he wants to come to us. If a player wants to go to another club, it's silly trying to hold on to them if he genuinely wants to go. So what you can do is waiver the 7 days. Literally, go onto the system and press the button, the waiver button, and that will come straight back, and that player then can be transferred within a short basis of time. If you haven't heard anything back for the 7 days, he automatically becomes free, a free agent. You can then transfer him through the process. So you go through the same process you would do to put a new player onto the system, and we do it that way. The ineligible players situation are players who have already played or already signed for a club or team in this league, and then you play him. You've got a double whammy there. You try and sign him, or you sign him on, and he's already played for another, playing for another team in this league. That will incur again a fine and the possibility of the game being wiped out, and you losing 3 points. So be careful every time you get other players. And the thing to do is ask the player, have you played for a team in this league in the recent past? They'll probably say, oh, no, I don't. He's forgotten that way back in July, he signed for a team. They never played him, didn't play him in any friendlies, never reject him or anything like that. He's gone, he's still signed for them. Then you come along in December, he's forgotten what happened in the past, he signs for you, and you've got a problem there. You've got a player with a dual signing, and that is an ineligible player. It's the same. You can play a player who is in a team from another league, but you still need to put the 7 days in for that player. So just be aware of that. It's easier to sign from somebody, say, from the NPAL league, can come and play for you. It's not quite as tricky a system, but make sure they get 7 days in. And if in doubt for anything, contact Albert Graves and he'll take you through the system with it. In terms of the transfer, it's a £7.50 fee. That should be paid to Albert when you make the initial 7 days approach to him. Okay, so it's ensure that that goes in. And again, you can pay it through the bank transfer. We can see it go through, and make sure you're aware that it's happened. Okay. Fortunately, I've lost my last 2 lines, Mark, on the system. Just bear with me a minute, if you wouldn't mind, folks, while I just have a quick look on there. Wait a minute. Hope I can get back now. Right, we're back again. Can you still get hold of me there?
We can still, still see
it's the player registration. Again, it's cancelling a registration. I've covered that, I think, in that way, and the rest of it is fairly straightforward. So the easiest thing to do, if you've not registered any players yet, you're not comfortable with how to go through the system, give us a call and I'll try and talk you through it while you're online. So go into your whole game system, go into player registration down the left-hand side, where you can see that, and I'll take you through the process. Because if in your cases, mostly the new teams won't have anybody on your system because you've not signed anybody in the past. If you've been on the league for a season or more, then the likelihood is those players that you signed last year still stay there, but they lose their registration status. You've got to go through the same process again, but it's a lot easier doing it that way. What you've got to do and be careful of when you're signing a new player is what you need to do is put the player's name and date of birth in the appropriate box at the top of the system. You search through the FA database, and that FA database should bring you up all the players with that name. The chance of it being the same date of birth is very, very limited. So you've done that properly, and you can then bring him into your system and go through the various elements that you need to do. One thing you must do, because one of the elements is when you basically done there's 4 elements. When you've done the 3 of those elements, you're normally left with the player's got to consent to joining your club. Now, in the past, we used to have the application form, as I said. Now it's what's called electronic consent, online consent. And what happens is, because you put the player's details into your system now, he should have an email. He's got to have an email. He's got to have a photograph, passport type photograph. So just the head, shoulders, no glasses, no headwear, looking straight at you, rather like you'd see in a passport. Got to have one of those on. He's got to have his email address. He's got to have his normal address. He's got to have a phone number on there. So what happens is when it comes to him confirming he wants to play with you, electronic consent, you will press on player consent on your system, and it will send him an email. When he receives that email, he's got 3 little boxes he's got to fill in. He ticks the boxes, presses the button to send it back, and it's done basically as quick as that. There was a demonstration the other night of it being done, and it was done in less than 30 seconds. It can be done that way. We have had a few problems with players saying they're not receiving them. Keep going on and make sure the email address is correct, but keep pursuing to make sure that he gets the one in the end. And it could just be the wrong time when you sent it, when it's full of information going through the ether. So be very careful on that. That's the easiest way of doing it that way there. If you can't find the player when you go in, just make sure that you put the right sort of information. The biggest problem you've got is not giving the player, say, the correct first time. You've either given him a nickname. In the terms of something like Matthew, you can use Matt, Matty, Math, all those sort of things. You could probably have 4 or 5 different ways of writing his first name down. If that isn't the same as the first name he's got on the FA database, you won't find him. So what I suggest you do, if you don't find him at first attempt and the first name can be shortened, go in and try a couple of others. But the best way of doing it is, one of the issues you need to do is check the player's ID. And that's done by either looking at a passport of him or looking at a driving license. And on both of those, either of those, should be his proper name. Use that proper name when you're going in to create him on the system. And also when you put him in to search the FA database, it should be right. Not saying it's perfect, because unfortunately somebody could have created him and not use that data that's in that ID, and say shortened the name or give him a middle name that's not normally got. So that's the way of doing that. If you can't find him at all, trying all sorts of ways to find him, then you have to create him. And there's a process on the system for creating as well. Don't want to go too deeply into it because there are some training courses for this. But when you create him, you have to put all his details in, his proper name. It then comes up. The biggest problem we have with that, and it's the biggest problem we've got at the moment, is if you create a player that's already in the system, maybe he's got the wrong, he's changed addresses and not let you know, so it's not picking him up, or he's changed his phone number, or he's changed his email address. It's important that you be very careful, because if you create him and he's already in the system, we create what we call FA number duplication, the FAN. You may have heard it as a FAN. And that one, you create a duplicate, or we've had as many as 4 or 5. The same person's got 5 of these FAN numbers. And that creates major problems. If you've got a system where you think a player's got 2 or more FAN numbers, there's a lady at NSFL called Julie Mitchell, who's up to her neck in it at the moment, does a great job, but she will take them on board, pull them all together and create based on the earliest FAN number. Always be suspicious at the moment that latest FAN numbers start 66. If you've got a player that you think, hang on, he's 30, he's been playing for the last 20 years, and he's got a FAN number with 66 in it, starting it, be very suspicious. That player's probably got 2 FAN numbers, because he was created 5 years ago and somebody's recreated him. And it's one of those, I don't want to try and worry you and bother you, but be very careful when you create a player that you've done all the checks beforehand. And often it's easier to say to the player, when did you last play in a league like this? And if he says last season, then he's likely to have got a FAN number anyway. In fact, he will have a FAN number anyway. So, and if he's played in our league in the past, contact us. We can look back on our database and we can probably find him and tell you what the FAN number is. So they're the sort of things you need to check with player registration. But I say there are some training courses coming up. But if you want to start loading players now, you're not quite sure, give it a go, try. Don't go too deeply into it before you contact us if you get stuck, and let us know what their issues are, and we'll take you through it. Okay? Any questions, anybody? Put your hand up if you've got a question. Mark, did I cover that reasonably well?
You did very well, John. Very, very well. I think
I'll have Julie out of the job.
I think for the open age sections, it's fairly straightforward. Just that players, if you've got an...
Hello? Have we lost you? Oh, technology's taking over, gentlemen. Are you still there, Mark? Oh dear. Right, we'll press on. Hopefully you can still all hear me. We'll press on. System stopped as well, folks. Do apologise. Knew this sort of thing would happen. Let's see if I can do it this way. Come on. There we go. Right. Right. Club detail changes. This is important because some people want to change the name halfway through a season, and it's for some reason.
Some Wi-Fi off somewhere on the line.
You're right, mate. Are you back on? Mark? You okay? Lost him. Hello, Albert.
Hi, John. Sorry, I dropped out. Sorry.
Okay, mate. No, you were saying something about various players. Is there anything I missed that you want to just cover?
No, not really. I've just to say to the guys, really, if you are struggling, then please let us know. Obviously, John's had a look through the system. Myself and Julie at the office will be able to help in some capacity. So, if there is anything else, just ping us an email. First of all, just to kind of save, obviously, a load of phone calls, then we'll work our way through, and we'll just drop you a line, say we've resolved the problem, or you need to do this, and come back to us. All right.
Is it all right, Mark, if I drop them your phone number and your email address as well as Julie's?
Yeah, of course.
You're busy people, we know that, and you might not get an immediate response, but you'll get one very quickly.
We've agreed as a team, as a county team, really, that we'll support across the line, because obviously Julie is snowed under. You'll obviously it should be fairly straightforward for open age. The problem has been with the youth age groups, where obviously we've got parents that are involved in the process, but the majority of you guys won't have that. So it is pretty much as easy as getting an email address, if you haven't already got the phone number, and then clicking the link and sending it to the players. I think it'd just be the players clicking that acceptance.
Thanks, mate. Just so you're aware, by the way, of how flexible these guys are at NSFL, I got an email from Julie Mitchell, timed at 12:30 in the morning, AM, the other day. So, yeah, these people are doing a tremendous job to help you out. So don't be afraid to contact. But please be aware, it's a very, very busy time at this moment. Albert, are you on?
Don't call at 12 o'clock.
No, don't call at 12 o'clock. Albert, are you on? I think he's probably on, but can't hear. No. Okay, all right. I'll press on then. Thanks, Mark. Much appreciated. My apologies, folks. Right. Club or team name changes. They require the permission from the NSFL, because if you choose a name that's already in existence, of course, it creates more problems than a little. So if you've got a creative name, by all means use it. Send it to the NSFL before we use it, and they'll send it to us. They'll change all the information we need to on whole game system and onto full-time. Full-time, by the way, folks, is another system. If you are not sure of it yet, they work together. You create things in a whole game system, they get taken over to full-time, and full-time will do the main administration for you. Right. So any changes at all, things like that, the handbook, when we send it out to you, any changes are free, but after the 31st of August, there is a charge. So just be aware, let me know, send everything to me if you change colour shirts, names of second contacts, things like that. I need to know as soon as you possibly can get in touch with me. And we can do that for you. And then we circulate. Because it's electronic, I circulate. I did about 8 issues of last year's handbook. I also put it on the full-time. It's the first time I've done it, but it is under a password. I'm a great believer in data protection. I will not send your information out without your permission. And in a lot of cases, if it's necessary, if somebody comes on to me and says, can you give me such and such an address? I said, no, what I'll do is I'll get them, if you're okay, to contact you with that information, not the other way around. At least then they've got the way of doing it. But on the full-time, I will put the handbook on and I'll password it. But obviously I'll send you out the password so you can get onto it and use it. We cover everything as much as we can on that. Let's make sure on colours, can we make sure and be certain dark colours are not required? I know referees now are wearing different shirts because the clash was if you wore a navy blue shirt or a black shirt, the referees wearing black. The vast majority of referees still wear black. Don't expect that referees will turn up in different colours or they've got shirts that replace it. Still, and this is the report, this is the rule from the FA at Wembley, dark colours, so black, navy, dark shirts with stripes are certainly not required. If you've got any doubt, you send us a colour like one team did. I noticed they were wearing navy. We asked them to change the colours and send us a copy of the colour that they've changed it to. So we've got that for you. The other thing, as we get towards the end of the season into April, it's highly likely, because if you've been successful in cup games, that you'll have a number of league games that are going to run into April and into May. If there's too many to get in on a Sunday, we will arrange them on evenings, and evening matches are mandatory. So if you get a league game to play in an evening, please make sure that you do it. We try and cut them to a minimum, but these sort of things happen. You can, if necessary, it's up to you if you agree it. If you're not played the team earlier in the season and you're about to play them again late in the season, you can use what we call a double header. The double header is that you play 2 games, one after the other, on a Sunday morning. Now you think, cracky, that's 90 minutes. You can cut the game down to a minimum of 30 minutes each way. So you've actually got 4 halves. You've got 2 halves in each game. The minimum is 30 minutes each way. So you play an hour in the first game, you play an hour in the second game, and the scores at each game are accepted as 2 different scores for those 2 games. So if you wish to do that, to cut down on, if you've got a heavy schedule still left because of weather, of course, January, February, and you've had a good run in the cups, things like that, you will end up with a backlog of games. So we'll leave you that for you to let us know. Obviously, you let us know first that you're going to play a game as a double header. We will arrange it on the system for that to happen. Right, in terms of contacting people, home teams should inform the visiting team and referee at least 6 days, in other words, by Monday evening at the latest, as the referee and the visiting team. You contact them by the Monday evening at the latest before each fixture. Failure to do so will incur a fine, again, and possible loss of your referee. One of the problems we've got at the moment is we are struggling for referees. Last year, at the start of last season, we had 150 registered referees who did not re-register. We're down, I think Mark can cover me on this, I think we were down to about 550 referees, Mark, at the start of last season, when we had nearly 800 the season before.
Yes,
and the biggest,
that's right.
And the biggest problem we've got is, unfortunately, due to COVID, we haven't been able to hold any referees courses. So that to fill those holes has been nigh on impossible. Fortunately, now they are starting to run some of the courses. Mark, have we run some successfully up to now? Not coming back to me. You muted yourself, Mark. Sorry.
Sorry, my connection this evening is really bad. I'm sorry.
Okay,
guys.
just
John,
have we
what
actually
were you
run
saying?
some courses already this year?
Yeah, we've ran. I think we're on our third course at the
Oh, good.
moment. On our third course, the most people on the courses are relatively young, as normal. But however, there has been, I think, right about 5 or 6 on each that, that could referee in open age football.
Good. Appreciate that. Thank you. So it's important you look after your referees. Get the information through early, as I say, because you may be a situation where a team's waiting for a referee. You've been late, you lose your referee, it goes to that player. You've got to arrange a referee yourself. If you can't find a referee at all, then you can't cancel the game. The game must go on, and you agree with the opposition for a referee from one of those two sides. And it's important you do that. Failure to do so, again, keep using the term fine, you will get fines, and it could affect the game itself. In terms of actually playing the games, you must play a game. It's no good saying I've only got 9 players. The minimum requirement is 7. You could still play a game with a minimum of 7 players. So please do that. I've actually refereed a game in the past that had 7 players on one side, 11 on the other. Funny enough, the team of 7 went ahead. We're then about 6-1 down with about 10 or 15 minutes to go. And unfortunately, one of the players on the 7 side did get a genuine injury. We had to abandon the game, but they tried it, they played it well in the end, but unfortunately do it. So it's important that you do that in terms of getting the game played. If you don't play the game, again, you can incur a cost. Games must be played on the dates issued by the match controller, our match controller being our chairman, Roger Porter, unless weather causes postponement or other issues cause postponement, and there's got to be a genuine issue that causes it. You can imagine we had a number of postponements last year with COVID when they've contacted said that we've got a player that's had COVID and we've had to go along with it. It's not much we can do about that. But again, failure to if this is not done properly and you've contacted the match control, it's to say that it's had to be postponed. Then again, there's a £25 fine and the possibility of 3 points being deducted. Cheers. Okay. The league operate the rolling substitute and sin bin procedure. If you don't come across these, right, hang on. Can I just? I've got Park Tavern with a hands up. What's the issue?
It's postponement and all that. Is that you have to do it within 48 hours?
Say again, sorry. You're not coming through very clearly. Sorry, mate.
I'm just wondering if the postponement, you have to do it within 48 hours, unless it's say like COVID.
If you've got if there's a COVID issue, we would expect sort of that sort of view. But you could get a situation where a player's not let you know until the Saturday. You're going to, that he's been tested positive for COVID. It was having a training session with you guys on the Thursday. Of course, we've got to take that into consideration in terms of a postponement.
Yeah.
Okay. So the earlier the possible, but we can understand sometimes the test results may not come out until just before the game.
Yeah, I just wanted to double check that. So thank you.
Okay with that, Dan. If in doubt, again, ask the question, mate, and we'll help you out.
I will. Thank you.
Okay, more than welcome. Thanks for that. Right, going back to the rolling substitute and sin bin procedure. This allows teams to name and play 5 substitutes. Okay, substitutions may be made at any time there is a stoppage in play and the referee is alerted. In others, it might be rolling substitute. You don't roll them on and off as you want. You've got to wait for a stop in play, ensure the referee is alerted of it, and once a player is substituted, he becomes a substitute and may re-enter the field of play at some further time. So there's nothing to stop the player going on and off 2 or 3 times. Okay, so it's gives a chance for more players to get on in the game, because you've got 16 players there and they can all get a kick of the ball sometime during the game. If the referee considers that a player is guilty of dissent, this is now about sin bins, by the way, he will send the player off the field of play to the sin bin. Well, we haven't got a special bin, unfortunately, but he goes off to stand with his colleagues on the such for a period of 10 minutes. What will happen is the referee, Mark, can you just clarify something for me then? You've muted yourself, man, but does he still show a yellow card and then point, or is it just pointing to the spot? He's not, because I keep changing this. What will happen is, let's put it quite clearly. The referee will indicate, normally by pointing with two hands, to the touchline, and the player goes off there. Again, it says he's off for a period of 10 minutes. He may not be replaced by a substitute during this period. So, in other words, your team is down to 10 players while ever that player is off, but may return at the expiry of the time. So, again, gets up to the 10 minutes. The referee will indicate 10 minutes is up and bring him back onto the field time at the appropriate time. It's no good saying, oh, because the other team may be attacking at the time. He'll bring you on at the appropriate time. This first incident is not reported to the FA. It's not classed as a caution or anything. However, if the same player commits the same offence later in the game, he will be shown the yellow card, pointed towards the touchline again, and dismissed from the field of play, not to return, but may be replaced after 10 minutes. So in other words, second offence, he goes off. It's rather like a sending off, actually. He goes off and he stays off even after the 10 minutes, but you can replace him after that 10 minutes period with another substitute. So you're down to 4 substitutes then, by the way, so you're aware. And on this occasion, it will be reported to the FA as a caution. So just so you make sure you're aware, and you'll probably get £10 or £15 off your shirt. But that's the point we're doing. So he's sent off. He's sent to the sin bin for the first offence. Waits 10 minutes. Not replaced by anybody at that time. Can then come back on, or you can put another substitute in his place, but he doesn't come back on. He comes back on, commits the same offence, sent to the touchline again. Can't come back onto the field at all for the remainder of the game. 10 minutes period is gone, and then you can put another substitute on after that second 10-minute period. Right. Before the game, both teams must exchange team sheets and give the referee a copy 5 minutes prior to kickoff. These are team sheet books which we're looking to hand out at the pre-season meeting later this month, and I'll let you know when that's going to be and where it's going to be. Right. So when you've got that, what will happen at the end of the towards the end of the game, you will receive, or whoever you've allocated to receive it, an SMS text just prior to the end of the game. You must reply to this, entering the result, and this information is automatically entered onto full-time website. So what you do is you'll get the SMS text. Just make sure you put the score in the right boxes, because often we'll get the score. It goes we don't touch it. Goes automatically onto full-time. Somebody looks at it and says, "Hang on a minute, we won 5-4, not the other way around," because somebody put the score in the wrong boxes. So that's one quick way of doing that. It's done that way. Okay. So we'll know the result of the game as soon as you put it onto the system. Match statistics, player details, subs, scores, etc. Are undertaken online using the full-time website. So when you've got your team sheet in your hand, go on to full-time as soon as you can after. We always like you to do it, if you can, the Sunday afternoon. Get everything on. Go into full-time. Go into results. Pick your game out. Go into for yourself, and you need to put down things like referee score, and it's out of 100. It's broken down into 3 categories. So you score that. I think it's the first category. It scores out of 40. Second one's out of 30. The third is out of 30. Just be careful when you do this. Don't do it straight after the game. If you've been had a penalty awarded against you in the last 2 minutes of the game, because that sort of in your mind, oh, he's a good referee. He scores 90, 95, and then all of a sudden he's given a penalty and it's come down to 50. Now, just be aware, if you score him less than 60, you must put a detailed report into the referee's secretary at the league. So that's an issue where you've got to write a report on it at the end of the day. If you can't get it done on the Sunday afternoon, you've got, again, 2 days, again, up to the Tuesday evening, to ensure that that is put on. And we have somebody to check that for us. So it's important, and you'll probably get a thick ear from this person, a text or whatever, just reminding you that you need to get it in by the Tuesday evening. And it's 6 p.m. on the Tuesday evening. Once you've completed it, you have the opportunity to check the opponent's details against the team sheet you've received from the opposition. Because it might be a case where you think, I wonder if that player I saw there is the right player. But again, on the day of the match, if you've got any concerns about whether the player that they've got on the team sheet is the right player, because you may recognise him somewhere else, you should inform the referee, identify who the player is, point the player, so the referee's got a chance of seeing it. He won't stop the game. The game will continue because it's not been proven. And then what we'll do during the following week, you'll put your complaint in to us. We will arrange for a meeting within that week, so it's still fresh in the referee's mind, to bring the player in, or the proper player in, and say to the referee, is this the player that you were indicated on the day? If it is, fine, it's accepted. If it's not, then obviously it will have a serious offence on that team. And again, they could get fined and lose points by it. The game becomes null and void. So it's important to allow, if you don't recognise somebody, or you recognise somebody that you think is not the one that's on the team sheet, ensure that you let the referee know beforehand. Right, if we make a charge against you, you as a club have the right to appeal decisions made by the league management. Appeals must be in writing to me, the General Secretary, with a cheque or a postal order, or you can put it to transfer it into the bank for £20. This is returnable on appeal being upheld. So if you win your appeal, we will give you the money back. So either hold the cheque for you, the postal order, or we'll return it from our bank account into yours. So it's important you do that. Notice of proposed alterations to rules. We mentioned the fact that you can alter rules in the system. This will be considered at the annual general meeting, but you must submit the proposed change by the 31st of December. So if you want to look at the ones where it's got italics and think, hang on a minute, I think we should move the kickoff time from 10:30 to 11:30, as a for instance, then you need to put that through to me by the 31st of December. I will circulate that within the next couple of weeks, so people are aware of it. But then it goes on into June to the AGM, and it will be considered at the AGM whether it's accepted or not. There were 2 changes this season. Both of them were accepted at the AGM. So we've done that. And finally, we've got the situation on referees. I mentioned the fact we have got a big problem with referees in terms of numbers. Please be aware of it. Always give the referee, or offer the referee, his match fee prior to the game. The normal match fees at the moment are £25 for the match fee and 30p a mile for his travel. And he'll let you know that before the game. So when you hand him over the team sheet, hand over also the match fee prior to the game. If you don't do, again, you can get fined for it, because there might be an issue in the game and you've shot off before you've given the referee his done. Please we use the term respect. Please respect your referees. You know, they're only the same as you. They've only got a pair of eyes. They may not see something that's happened behind the back. Please accept that those are circumstances that can happen. He will ask for, I say he, we have got some female ones as well. Sorry about that. The referee will probably ask for a couple of people to help him by running the line. According to the FA laws of the game, that person should only give the ball out of play. right? So you don't get. However, you may get the referee if he thinks that you know what you're doing. He may ask you to indicate offside or things like that. I would really come away from indicating fouls. Let that referee do that. But if the referee happens to be slightly behind play and he's asked you to indicate offsides, it's up to him then whether he overrules you, and he might not be doing it in a nasty way. He just overrules because he's seen something you've not seen. They're the sort of things that we do. So please be aware that he may ask you to supply someone to run the line for him. Okay, folks, is there anything else to add? Anything else anybody needs now that we've covered? Stick your hands up. Crikey, you've all gone to sleep. You're still with me?
I did think of something.
Yeah, still there.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, can get Dan?
Yeah, I was trying to say I did think of something earlier, but I'll probably ask you to get in touch with you in the week.
All right, let's say, look, if there's something that's gone out of your mind, give me a call, no problem, or drop me a line, and I'll help you out the best I can.
Thank you.
Okay? Well, somebody else came on? You're all muted anyway, by the way, folks. So if you want to have a word, then South Nuts guy, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Lovely. Okay, was there anything at all you think I've missed? Or, I mean, it was a lot that in an hour, and I apologise that, but what we'll do is I'll send you out a copy of the presentation. Is there anything you missed on that? Go through it slower, come back to me. All right?
Okay. Thanks.
Okie dokie. And the other guy, are we okay? Park Tavern, was it? No, Park Tavern Garden. It was, sorry. It was
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you.
okay. Everything all right? Sorry, the other BC, I've lost him now.
Everything's all right.
Lovely. Okay, thanks very much for disappointed with only 3 of you, but thank you very much for paying the time to come and do that. Mark, anything from you?
Nothing from me, John. That was well covered. So just for the guys, if there's any support you need from the County FA, please don't hesitate to drop us a line. John will circulate our details around a little bit later.
Sincerely, thanks from me again, Mark, for giving you your time and controlling the presentation for us. Much appreciated, mate. Thank you.
No problem. Sorry,
Albert, I don't know whether you can hear or see or say anything, but it doesn't look as though your mic's on.
No, I don't know why the mic isn't on.
Oh, it is on. I can hear it now.
Oh, well, yeah.
Sorry, mate. I didn't hear you. Is there anything at all you want to say?
Not really.
Okay, thank you. By the way, that was Albert Graves, by the way, folks. I mentioned him in the past, our league registrar and liaison officer.
There's one thing. All registration difficulties should come through me in the first place.
Yeah, okay. There you've got it. From the horse's mouth. Any registration issues you've got, contact Albert.
Yeah,
particularly on things like transfers, though, isn't it, Albert?
I know a lot of old players that's been in. Anybody over 18 should already have a fan number.
Yeah.
And when they get up to 20 and 24 and 30, and they get a brand new fan number, that means they've already got one. So they won't get registered until that's sorted.
Yeah, that's what I went through early on for you. I didn't know you were there, but I covered that if there's a suspicion of a high fan, I said that there's fans at the moment are in 6'6", aren't they? Start 6'6".
Yeah.
You've got a player that's in his mid-20s and he's been playing fairly regularly, and the fan comes up at 6'6". Be very wary. There's going to be something a lot lower than that.
Well, the only way they'll get a 6'6" fan number is to generate one themselves.
Yes, I appreciate that.
Well, it's 6'7" now.
Oh crikey! That shows how many players are going on now at the moment, lads. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, folks. Thank you very much. Okay, all the best to you. Thanks very much for turning out. Cheers, Al.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
bye.